Okay, we're on Shabbat, Perek Chet, Mishnah, Bet. We're going to continue discussing or studying the quantities of different items and how much you have to take out from one Mishnah to another in order to be chayav on hotza'ah. Says the Mishnah, Hamotzi chevel, if you're transferring, if you're carrying rope, how much? What's the minimum quantity? Kedei lasot ozen lakupa, to make an ear is the handle lakupa for a basket. So I have to have enough rope that I can tie it in order to make a handle. However much that is, no idea. They knew. Gemi, if I have reeds, kedei lasot tlai lenafa v'dikvara. In order to make tlai means like a handle. So it wouldn't be like a handle, it would be like a hook. They would tie onto the end of the nafa and kvara, or different kinds of sifters, a sifter, a sieve, and a sifter. Okay, you'd make a tlai, litlot. Tlai means to hang. So they'd make a kind of hook that they would hang this thing from with the reeds. Rav Yehuda says, Kedei litol mimenu midat min al lekatan. In order to take the measurements of a shoe of a child, how would you measure the shoe? You would take the rope, and you would measure from one side to the other, okay? And that's how you would know the size of the child's shoe. In the same way you do it today, except we use other measurements. So it's a much less amount. It's a smaller amount of gemi than it would be needed to make a talai, to make the hook, to make the handle for the sifter or the sieve. Okay? Rav Yehuda says you need even less than that. Niyar, how much paper do I have to take from one mashut to another in order to be chayav? K'dei lichtov alav kesher mochasin. In order to write on it kesher mochasin. Let's take the Bartanura to see what is a kesher mochasin. Bartanura says the following: Pa'amim she'adam lotein meches b'rosh hanahar mizeh. If a person goes through the tolls and they take meches, they take taxes, okay, and he's traveling through the tolls on the river, he's carrying his goods, and they take meches. Vu mosar lo chotam, and he gives them a stamp l'harod lamoches shebe'ever ha'acher. He wants to show, it's not like nowadays tolls on like the Verrazano Bridge in Brooklyn, you only pay one way. There, you pay one way, but they would charge on both sides of the river. So they would give you a stamp, a chotam, okay, to show the guy on the other side that you already paid from the first side. How would they do that? And they would write two letters, gidolot, two large letters as a siman. And they're larger than our normal letters. So they would give him a little petek, a tiny little piece of paper, as a check, but I have no idea how big the paper was. They knew how big the paper was, and on this paper was written two letters, and that was your stamp that you had paid your tolls, you had paid your taxes on the other side of the river. Niar machuk, that's kesher muchsin. Niar machuk, if I have paper that's been erased on, so you can't really write on it. Kedei lichroch al pitz lochit ktana shel palyaton. In order to, then you'd have to have enough paper to wrap on the top of a tzlochit ktana, of a small, tzlochit is a small vase. What's the word I'm looking for? Tzlochit is a small flask, right, of perfume. Palyaton is perfume. Okay, so because right on it has to be just al pitz tzlochit. How much do you need in order to wrap around the top? We have a little flask, it's probably the size of my finger. You wrap around just a teeny amount of paper. These are really, really tiny measurements. Enough rope to make a handle, enough reeds to make a handle, enough paper to write two letters, enough paper to wrap around the top of a flask. Tiny measurements, and that if you do it, the Mishnah says you're chayav on hotza'ah mirashut l'rishut. We'll stop here. As always, if you have comments or questions, you can feel free to email me at my email address, rspolter@gmail.com. And we'll dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.